So let's look at the terror barrier now, and we'll spend about half an hour doing some teaching on this lesson. So for a person to change their results, they must change their paradigm, and this requires strong and conscious control over their thinking. So if you are to change your results, the change has to occur at a subconscious level. This is a really important point to mark down. You might even want to write it out. The change that I need to make is at a subconscious level. And that is where the paradigm is. And the way we do that is by thinking new thoughts and holding new images consciously and turning them over to the subconscious mind through repetition, which is what you've been doing here with this coaching so far. This is what you've been learning how to do. Now, you might feel you're not very good at it yet, or you're not as effective as you could be, but it's a growth process, and every day, every moment of every day, you have that opportunity to course correct and build a picture of what you want and hold it and get better at doing it. So you're flooding your subconscious mind with what it is that you do want. 96 to 98% of all of your results come from the subconscious mind. So as you start to create some momentum around those new images and that new thinking and those new behaviors, that becomes your new set point. Therefore, you're now operating with new conditioning, and the results start to change. And you'll eventually experience a snowball effect with that, where you can't stop it because you're on autopilot and things just keep happening day by day, and you think, where has all of this been hiding all those lean years? But that's how it works. Whenever you think of making a dramatic change, anything out of the norm, you're going to run up head first against this wall of fear. Why is that? Because this new idea, this change that you're thinking about, it's a why idea. It's not part of your current conditioning. It doesn't feel good. Think about someone who's in a bad vibration. You don't want to be around them. Think about someone earning $50,000 a year versus someone earning $1 million a year. They probably don't spend a lot of time with each other because it doesn't feel right. They're not in the same vibration. So when you're thinking about these why ideas and you're thinking about creating dramatic change, then you're going to run headfirst in the terror barrier because it's not going to feel comfortable. You're going to experience conflict. You know you want it, you know that you're worthy of it, but there's something not right about it, and it's conflict. It doesn't feel good. Understanding and awareness of what is happening is key to be able to move forward rather than retreating back to safety. You will be so tempted to go back to bondage, and it's critical that you don't. Study, accountability, support, keep moving, keep growing, keep getting involved with new ideas that expand your mind. That will keep you moving forward regardless of how strong the pull is pulling you backwards. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones who are most responsive to change. This is such an important thing to remember. Your world is changing at such a rapid pace right now that if you can't change and adapt, if you don't have the ability to see an opportunity and take it, you're going to miss out. If you can't make decisions quickly and act on them with courage and faith that everything that you need will reveal itself to you, you're going to miss out. And all of the ability to do that comes from understanding yourself, understanding the terror barrier, being able to face the thing you fear, make the decision, and move forward. That's when you win. That's when you'll win in a way that is bigger and beyond anything you could have dreamt of before, because there are not a lot of people doing that. If you really think about it, a lot of people hit that wall of fear and they bounce back. So there is very little competition at the top. In fact, there is no competition because so few people, even in your own industry, are thinking and operating like this. So if you continue to grow, if you continue to become very responsive to change, you see an opportunity, it's a fit, it's going to help you get to where you want to go, you make a decision and you act on it, you will grow and your results will get better and better and better. So I want you to think about your goal from lesson 1 and ask yourself, is this what you really want, or is this what you're settling for? Think about it. Is it what you really want, Or is it what you're settling for? I had a recent experience with my C-type goal just in the past week or so. Was it past week or so? Yeah, probably. Past 2 weeks, I've been doing some work on it. And the date was the 2nd of February. I'd reset the date because the date had come and gone, and I'd reset the date for another 4 months or so. And when I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? No, that's not going to work for me. It'll be the end of this year. And then yesterday I was thinking, the end of this year? No, that's not going to work with me. It'll need to be before Christmas. And I moved the date forward on the goal because I was settling. I was letting my paradigm convince me that it was going to take time to do this and accomplish this goal. When actual fact, my study and awareness has expanded at such a great rate over the last 9 months. I've become so good at understanding and applying this that I've realized that I've really not only realized but understood there's no such thing as time and space. And the subconscious mind doesn't see anything as big or small. It merely sees it as an image. So if I can be more disciplined, focused, and dedicated towards living in the spirit of that image and doing what is necessary every day to the best of my ability to be in the spirit of that image, then choose a date that I really want, Karen, not a date that you're settling for because you think it might take you a bit more time to accomplish it. So you think about that in your own situation, in your own level of awareness with where you're at. And look, I've reset the date on my C-type goal a few times. So I wouldn't be too scared about having to do that if the date comes and goes. But you want to make sure you're really moving towards what you want. And then you just lock in. You don't take your eyes off it. So I wasn't pushing the date further out. I was actually bringing it forward because that's what I want. That is what I want. And I accepted that and I released myself to it. And I wake up and I focus on one day at a time. If you knew you had all the talent, ability, and resources, think about that. Just think about that idea for a second. You had all the talent, all the ability, and all the resources to accomplish something beyond what you are working on. What would that be? So for me, it was to accomplish it in a shorter period of time, much, much shorter period of time, to do it now, to do it today, to accept the idea that it can happen today. Like, what would that be for you? Mentally play with the idea. What benefits would you experience from making this idea a reality? This is your why idea. Just have some fun with this for a minute or two. Think about your goal. Think about what you want. Think about doing it in half the amount of time. I'm not saying you have to if you don't want to. Imagine it happened today. Imagine that right now, today, you accomplish your C-type goal. How would that make you feel? That's a why idea. Now, that is not going to be in harmony with your current conditioning at all. It will probably excite you. It'll probably scare you. You'll probably be tempted to reject it instantly. But this is what we're talking about when we talk about a why idea. It's really starting to understand how your mind works. It's really starting to understand universal law and how to work in harmony with it. It's really starting to understand self-image. It's really starting to understand these different elements and know how to work in harmony with it. And stop settling or convincing yourself that things have to happen by a certain way and start going after what you want. What is it that you really want? So this is the terror barrier process, or the first 3 stages in the terror barrier. Anytime you are setting a goal or moving towards that why idea, that results in you skipping a couple of rungs on the ladder of success, you will run up against the terror barrier. Whenever you go to make a serious change in lifestyle, let me just pause there for a moment. Did you notice when I asked you to think about this question, particularly if you had all the talent and resources, did an idea pop on your head, pop on the screen of your mind, and did you immediately question it? Be honest and truthful with yourself. Did you think, can't happen? No. It's crazy. Could I? That, in that instance, was the terror barrier. That was the paradigm seeding. Nah, not sure about that. you will run up against the terror barrier. Anytime you're setting a goal that results in you skipping a couple of rungs on the ladder of success, you will run up against the terror barrier. Now, I only point that out to you so that you can start to really pay attention to the paradigm and really how much it does influence and control you. And the more aware you become of it, the more you can be like, get out of here. I know how this works. You don't. And stay the course. Whenever you go to make a serious change in lifestyle, moving out of your comfort zone, you will run up against the terror barrier. Whenever you go to step out and do something different, adopt new behavior, new ideas, the first time you go and, book a completely different type of hotel and suite to stay in, and it costs you 3 times as much as you ever have spent before on your accommodation, you're going to run up against the terror barrier because you're stepping out and making a serious change in your lifestyle. It's not going to feel comfortable. But this is exactly what you have to start to do. In the smallest things that you can find, in the bigger things you can find, is really start to get into the spirit that you've got what you want. So if you look at the diagram on the screen here, the 3 stages, we've got bondage, reason, and conflict, which is the 3rd stage. So bondage is where you've got the one type of energy flowing to and through you. You're in an X-type vibration. You're consciously thinking X-type thoughts the way you always have. You're not entertaining any new ideas. The subconscious mind is operating homeostasis. Nothing is changing. You're in an X-type vibration. You've got X-type behavior. Conditioning's the same. I operate the same type of results. That's what we call bondage. It feels good. We know it. We recognize it. You understand yourself. You understand your environment. It's lovely. But there's no growth attached there. Then you move to reason. So reason is now where you are consciously entertaining the idea of doing something different, which is a bit like what we did just back here. I had you start to play around with the idea of a Y-type idea, whatever that might be for you, whatever that could look like for you. And you're playing around with it. And at the moment, it's just in your conscious mind. You most certainly haven't made a decision to do it. It's just an idea in your conscious mind. So you're not creating any sort of conflict at a subconscious level. You'll continue to go about the rest of your day operating the same way. You'll wake up tomorrow. You'll operate the same way you always have, and you'll keep getting the same results year on, year out. The conflict stage is the 3rd stage. And that's where you've made a committed decision, an irrevocable committed decision to say, this I shall do. And you have turned it over to the subconscious mind. You've visualized it. You've written it out. You've said, this is what I'm going to do. And you move into action to get it, to receive it. So you're actually starting to trigger your subconscious mind now. Your behaviors, your habits come from the subconscious. So the second you go to make a serious change in your behavior, you're affecting your subconscious mind. It doesn't like it. Oh, this doesn't feel good. Oh, no, you shouldn't be doing this. This is bad. Back out, back out, back out. You're triggering a shift in your subconscious mind. So what's happening is you've actually gone to act on this why idea. You're getting involved. It can happen the other way as well, where you get involved with so much repetition around the why idea that you put yourself in the terror barrier. As you're getting involved with repetition and starting to move into action with it, you've got this force field where you create the conflict. It's this antagonistic behavior playing out. Should I, shouldn't I? And things are shifting. You can experience it in another way. 4 to 6 weeks into thinking into results, you might have been thinking, oh, I haven't been creating too much change here, like not much has been happening. But you've been doing your study, you've been very diligent with your study, you've been following along, you're taking action, you're thinking in a new and different way, and then all of a sudden it can feel like the wheels are suddenly falling off, and you're like, whoa, something doesn't feel right here. I'm getting scared, I'm worried, will this process work for me? I don't think I want to do it anymore. My results seem to be getting worse, not better. You've actually created conflict. You've actually created such a positive shift in terms of the new image that you're programming. It's now caused conflict with the old self-image. And it manifests as worry on a conscious level, fear and doubt on a subconscious level, and anxiety in the body. And you're now in the terror barrier. You're in conflict. So there's lots of different ways that you trigger this XY vibration. But that's where the shift really starts to occur. I can experience the XY vibration now, and it doesn't sabotage me or derail me. It could have been days or weeks when I got started. Now I know that I'm in it. I know it feels uncomfortable, but I'm through it so quickly because I've practiced and I've been so consistent in my thoughts and in my actions and in studying to understand and continuing to study and develop my higher and higher levels of awareness with how this works, that I can recognize it, I look for it, I know when I'm in it, and I know what I need to do to get through it. And you will find that as well, that the more you keep studying this material and you keep studying with me, that your ability to move through the terror barrier becomes faster and faster. You're more effective at it, and that's why your results will continue to expand and they'll get better and better and better. If we don't do that, if we give in, if we bounce back to bondage, which we can do, it's very normal to do, particularly in the early days where you think, oh, no, it doesn't matter. I will stop studying for a week, or I'm not going to get on those calls, or I won't ask for help, or I'm not going to make those sales phone calls today. You will go back to bondage. Oh, thank goodness. I feel so much better now that I pulled out on that decision. I feel so much better now that I haven't invested that money. But what you've actually done is you've gone back to bondage. So you have worry on a conscious level, fear on a subconscious level, anxiety in the body. You think, oh, this doesn't feel good. I'm on the wrong track. I shouldn't be here. You go back to bondage. Whatever I have to do to get out of whatever I've done to make myself feel like this, I'm going to do it. And you go back to bondage. No growth attached. Then what happens again? The cycle starts over. Go back here. You think, oh, I'm really unhappy with my results. I really need to make a change. I've really got to make some more sales here. I've got to earn some more money. I need to keep growing. I know what I need to do. You entertain a new idea. And then you go to act on that idea. You get into conflict again, the XY vibration. You hit the terror barrier. You go back to bondage. And you know what you're doing? Every single time you do that, you're knocking yourself down your self-esteem ladder. You're chipping away at your own self-confidence, at your own self-image, your own self-esteem. It's not very nice to do that. So make sure you don't do that. Make sure that you don't give that X-type consciousness. You don't entertain it. You don't go there. You don't get emotionally involved with the old paradigm, with the old self-image, with the X-type conditioning, the habitual way of thinking. You get emotionally involved with the why idea. You get emotionally involved with the why idea that it is seeking expression through. It's asking you to take some sort of course of action to bring it to life. And you're not. You're letting yourself go back to bondage. You've got to honor that why idea and say, well, this I shall do. I'm going to do this next. If it means I'm going to grow, if it means I'm going to develop a greater sense of awareness with respect to who I am and where I'm going, then I'm going to do it. I'm not going to worry about the time. I'm not going to worry about the money. I'm not going to worry about where all the time and resources are going to come from. I'm going to act in full faith that if I'm moving towards and in the spirit of my goal, that I am lining up to a greater level of awareness, and I'm going to be in harmony with opportunities and resources and money and everything else that comes at that higher level that I can only tap into by making the decision to move forward in spite of the conflict that I'm experiencing. You've got to understand that you've got to be willing to make those decisions and move forward in spite of how uncomfortable it might feel. Because if you don't, you will keep hitting that wall and there's going to be no growth attached there, and those dreams will die a stillbirth. As you do conquer the terror barrier and you move through this invisible wall that you and you alone created for yourself, but that is very real, you experience freedom. You experience the growth that you've been seeking. You experience this sense of self-control and self-awareness that, wow, I did it. And you learn from that experience. That's going to give you a greater level of belief the next time you go to do it. Well, I did it once and I did it again. I've been here before. I can overcome this again. The more you do it, the more data, the more memories you're creating that can fuel the fire, that can help you build a strong belief about your capacity to make even bigger things happen in the future. If you want to get a stronger belief about your ability to accomplish that goal, look back on some of the things that you have already done, the decisions that you made, the moves that you made, and look how they've benefited you. And look at the next decision you're about to make and believe in the same capacity that, well, I did it then and I'm going to do it now. And the more you do this, the more positive experiences or even negative experiences you open yourself up to, but you learn from them all and you see that you can grow through them. And that if I can grow to this level, then I can grow to that level because it's exactly the same process time and time again. That gives you freedom. That gives you freedom to create the life that you've always wanted. It gives you freedom to really understand and be in control of creating the results that you really want because you're no longer going to be a martyr to that terror barrier, that old conditioning that keeps bringing you back to bondage and keeps you stuck. As you move to this freedom state, as you understand the law of polarity, as I teach you in this lesson, you can look at it as a state of, you can get emotionally involved with the worry, the doubt, the fear, the anxiety. You can get very worried with everything that could go wrong, or you can study. You can have the knowledge based in understanding as to what is going on here. You know, your results are a level of your awareness and your level of ignorance. So as you continue to expand your level of awareness and grow in your understanding of these concepts and principles and grow in your experience of applying them, your conscious awareness of what you can do is going to continue to expand. Where it's not, that's a level of ignorance with respect to what you can do. So this positive state is what we want to always be focused on, developing a greater degree of awareness through study and understanding. That leads to a greater sense of faith that you know you can have what you want and you know what you need to do to get what you want. That state of faith can only be invoked by study and understanding, by gathering the information, learning how to apply it through lived experiences, through coaching and mentoring, through going out there every day and living what you're learning. And that leads to a state of well-being. You literally become more vital. You become healthier, happier, more confident, more calm. You become more satisfied. You're going to become wealthier, more prosperous, more abundant because you're in this state of well-being to attract it. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. So if you have any fears, doubts, worries about acting on your big idea, about taking the next course of action, write them down. Simply by writing them down, you're going to isolate yourself from them. You eliminate fear through intelligent action. Analyze each of the fears and you will quickly realize they actually have no foundation. The worst that could happen probably isn't going to happen. You have created them in your imagination. Take each one of the fears that you have listed and explain what you're going to do about them. Get busy and do it. Burst through the terror barrier and enjoy the freedom that is and always has been your birthright. People will often say, how do I overcome the fear? And I say, take action. Do the thing that you fear doing. You know, make the decision, take the action, invest the money, go for the opportunity, take the course of action, take the course. That's how you eliminate fear, is through getting into action. No amount of reading and writing, it'll give you the understanding of what's going on, but if you really want to bust through that terror barrier, you've got to move into action and do it. So I want to leave you with that today and really think about that. Are you going to let fear stop you? Are you going to let the possibility of what could go wrong or all the reasons why you can't have what you want stop you from moving towards that state of freedom where you haven't even scratched the surface with what you could possibly do? And yet you run up against that terror barrier and you let this old conditioning, this old part of you who wants nothing more for you than what you already have. Are you going to listen to that part of you for the rest of your life? If you do, you will never experience any better results than what you already have. Or are you going to let that dream or that goal motivate you into action, cause you to do things that at the moment might seem illogical, might seem like, how could I possibly do that? But that is exactly what you must do. You must move into action and do the thing that you fear doing. Invest the money, make the decision, grow the business, make the phone call, get out there and prospect and sell and put yourself out there, because that's when the magic happens. That's when you overcome the terror barrier and you learn and you grow and you move to new levels of consciousness, and that's where your better results are. So on that note, is there any final questions for lesson 7 today? Katie's got a great comment here. Karen, I feel this way about my new pricing. $2,000 instead of $600 for a program. My mind is trying to talk me out of it. I feel clients can subconsciously pick up on my fear and conflict in me is created. Well, they would be, because you're not comfortable with it yet. So number one, you want to keep doing those presentations. Keep doing those presentations with your new clients. The more you do, the more comfortable you'll get with it. You also want to work with the number. So when you can literally visualize yourself saying it. I would walk around the house saying your new price. My coaching is $2,000. My coaching is $2,000. My coaching is $2,000. I would write it out. I would read it out. I would look at it. All auto suggestion. What you're doing is you're impressing that new idea, that new image on your subconscious mind so that you're comfortable with it. The more we reprogram our subconscious mind with the new ideas, we become more comfortable with it. When we go to say it, there's no shift in our energy because we're one with it. That's the key. If you are ever putting up your prices in your business, you just fuse with it, you accept it, and get involved with auto suggestion, and you'll become very, very comfortable with it very quickly. Great. All right, everyone. I wish you a wonderful weekend. You should get a recording of this in your inbox within an hour or so of this webinar finishing. I think we've set that up now for you. So you'll get a recording of this directly into your inbox. Review it, enjoy it, look forward to conquering and going after the thing that you really want and taking that next action, and know that everything that you need, you'll be supported in receiving it if you focus on what you want and feel good about receiving it.